If you are the alleged victim in a domestic violence case and you want the case dropped, you may already know, if you've been doing your research, that at least in the state of California, you are not in control of that. Once the defendant is arrested, you don't get to drop the charges. It's not like in Law and Order where they ask if you want to press charges and follow your wishes. But one thing that you can do is you can write a statement in support of the defendant and in support of the charges being dropped. Now, the question that I get asked is, but what do you write in this statement? My name is Veronica. I'm a domestic violence defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, in this video, we are going to be talking about if you are the alleged victim in a domestic violence case, but you want the case to be dropped, and you want to write a statement in support of the case being dropped, which is a very good idea, especially if you're hiring a criminal defense attorney before the first court date to try to get everything dropped before it even becomes a case. It is a really good idea. I'm going to be explaining what you should write in that statement. Okay, so let's jump right in. Number one, what is your relationship with the accused? Are you married? Are you dating? Are you engaged? And do the two of you have kids together? Number two, the length of the relationship that you've had with the person who was accused, the person who was arrested. How long have you guys been together? If you've only been together for 2 years, but you've been best friends for 20, then include that. How long have you known the person? 3, do you live together? This is really important because if a criminal case is filed, then typically the prosecution is going to ask for there to be a restraining order prohibiting the accused person from having contact with you, which obviously is a huge problem for families. And I've had cases where my client was the wife, she was accused, the husband only called the police because he wanted them to sort of mediate the situation, not realizing that that's not really what they do. They had 3 little kids, one of whom was breastfeeding. And again, I represent the wife. So imagine that case, we did get that dismissed before court, by the way, but imagine that case had been filed and my client, the mom, is no longer allowed to be in the home. That's going to impose not only a financial hardship, because now they have to find another place for one of them to temporarily live. And what do you even do in that situation? If you don't have family nearby, what, you rent an Airbnb? I've had people sleeping in their cars even. So not only that, but it's going to be terrible for the kids. Where's mom? Why isn't mom here, right? Or if dad decides to leave so that mom can stay, then where's dad? It's a big problem, and that is why it's important for the prosecution to know the details of your living situation. Number 4, what led to the police being called? And here are some examples. Maybe there was a loud argument with no violence, but the neighbors called the cops. You were very emotional due to health issues, really long hours, sleep deprivation, etc. Maybe you were very angry at the accused for some reason. Maybe you were fearful of the relationship ending, and so you just kind of freaked out. These are all examples of the reasons why the police might be called, right? Maybe you called the police just to mediate a situation, like the alleged victim in the case that I mentioned earlier, not realizing that when they come out, they're going to arrest someone. I've also had alleged victims write that they were out of control and that the accused was only trying to stop them. So, for example, where the alleged victim was extremely, extremely drunk and was trying to run out onto a busy street and maybe has some bruises, but that's because the accused person was trying to stop them and was physically restraining them for their own good. Now, those are all just examples, but of course, it depends on your particular case. Some of these things, the question's going to come up, am I going to get in trouble if I write certain things? Like, let's say you wrote in this letter that you actually were the one attacking the accused and the accused was just defending him or herself. Well, you might be thinking twice before writing that down and submitting it to the prosecution, right? I will tell you that in my experience, I have never seen anybody who wrote one of these letters ever, and I've had people make significant admissions of crimes that they committed in these letters. I've never seen any of them ever charged with a crime. I've never seen somebody who was originally named as a victim in a domestic violence case ultimately end up getting charged, ever. But I am not your attorney, and I can't just tell someone, don't worry, you're not going to get in trouble when I'm not even your lawyer. But I've never seen it happen before, and in fact, in cases where I had a client who was accused of attempted murder, and at trial, we win, it's self-defense. Self-defense means that the other party was committing a crime against you, right? I mean, the jury has decided that it's self-defense. I've never seen them charge the other party. And that brings us to number 5. If you falsely accuse the arrestee, if you lied to the cops, you can explain that you lied and why, and that can be helpful. Are you going to get in trouble? I can't guarantee that you won't, but I haven't seen it happen. But get your own attorney. This is not legal advice. Number 6, if the police got it wrong when they showed up, then explain that. Maybe the police told you, and I've seen this happen many times, they say one of you is going to go to jail. Is it going to be him or is it going to be you? And you are scared of going to jail. You don't want to go to jail. Nobody wants to, right? So, and especially if you're angry at him, you say, take him to jail and let the cops sort of lead you into what they want to say. If that happened, that's something that you can include here. If the police threaten to take your kids away or heavily imply that your kids would be taken away unless you went along with what they wanted you to say, and I've actually had a case like this where we ended up going to trial and winning. Every case is different, right? But that's what the cops did. Then that's something that you can include here as well. Number 7, some flavor of this is a loving relationship and the accused is not abusive. Number 8, some version of this situation, everything that happened, is in no way reflective of our relationship overall. This was a one-time, once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. Because really, when the prosecution's looking at these cases and deciding whether or not to file, that's what they're looking for. Is this a situation where we really need to help someone and we need to punish somebody else? Or is this something where it was just a couple that, you know, over the years that they're together and all the conflicts that you have in life and as a couple in a partnership, is this just one that got a little bit out of hand? Something that likely will never happen again. Number 9, any plans for the future of the relationship. So if you're planning to get married, if you're planning to stay together, then you want to include that there. And maybe when you're writing one of these letters, you're not with the other party anymore. Maybe you realize, you know what, this is not the right relationship for me, or at least not right now, but you don't believe that they did anything wrong and you don't want these charges to go forward against them. You can say that too. Number 10, your contact information, your full name, your signature, your phone number, and your email address. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you do have a criminal case in California that you are looking for help with, if you are the alleged victim in a case and you are looking to get the defendant help, or maybe you've been subpoenaed, you're trying to get this whole thing dropped, or you want somebody to represent you in the case, then give me a call. You can find my number down below. You can also find a link to book a consultation there. And if you did find it helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell.